Science refers to the knowledge one gains by systematically studying both the physical and natural world's behavior and structure by observing and carrying out experiments. The book Principia Mathematical Principles of Natural. Believe it or not, this is perhaps one ever of the most important works ever written by a human being in the 100,000 years since we evolved from Africa. Realize that this book sets into motion the physics of the universe, forces that control the motion of the planets, forces which can be calculated, forces which govern the motion of cannonballs, rockets, everything that moves around according to the law of motion and the calculus of Sir Isaac Newton. In fact, even today, when we launch our space probes, we don't use Einstein's equations. They only apply when you get near the speed of light or near a black hole. We use laws of gravity. They are so precise that we shoot a space probe right past the rings of Saturn. We use exactly the same equation that Isaac Newton unraveled in the 1600s. So the lesson is where is the scientists unravel the first force of the universe, gravity that set into motion the Industrial Revolution, a revolution which toppled the kings and queens of Europe, which displaced feudalism sharing in the modern age. All because a 23-year looked up and asked the question, does the moon also fall? But it wasn't until the 1800s that finally we began to unlock the second great force which rules the universe, the electromagnetic force. Michael Faraday would give Christmas lecture in London, fascinating everyone from adults to children. And he would demonstrate the incredible properties of electricity. Well, what Michael Faraday did was he helped to unleash the second great revolution with something called Faraday's law. A moving wire in a magnetic field has these electrons pushed, creating an electrical current. That simple idea unleashed the electric revolution. And that's why we have hydroelectric generators, dams that produce enormous amount of power. That's why people build nuclear power plants. So in other words, electricity and magnetism were unified into a single force. We once thought that electricity and magnetism were separate. Now we know that they are fact, the same force. So if a moving magnet can create an electric field, this means that a moving electric field can create a magnetic field. But if they can create each other, why can't they oscillate and create a wave? So that the moving electric fields create magnetic field, create electric fields, that creates magnetic fields infinitum to create a wave. And this was discovered by James Clerk Maxwell called electromagnetic waves. So let's now talk about how Faraday and Maxwell's work touches your life as well. This is the Internet. The Internet is a simple byproduct of the electromagnetic force, which thereby brings entertainment, economic activity. And now let's talk about the nuclear age. The stars and the sun. People have been fascinated by the sun. Einstein and others helped to unravel the secret of the stars. The nuclear force comes in two types, weak and strong. The weak nuclear force governs radioactive decay. The strong nuclear force is one of the strongest forces in the entire universe. It's so strong, it holds our protons together ever since Genesis, the beginning of time. In every aspect of our lives, the four fundamental forces are at work, from playing basketball to launching a rocket into space. Everything is influenced by one or more of the forces. These forces govern everything that happens in the universe. The outstanding question of the four fundamental forces is whether they are actually manifestations of just a single great force of the universe. If so, each of them should be able to merge with the others, and thus already evidence that they can. In a nutshell, science helps to improve our lives. It gives a better understanding of what is happening around us. It's through science that we have so much technology. The fact that a lot of research takes place before making conclusions shows that science is reliable. The basics do not change, so the knowledge, in most cases, does not change over time.
From this distant vantage point, the earth might not seem of particular interest, but for us, it's different. Consider again that dot, that's here, that's home, that's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their dreams. People preach sky is the limit, but for whom? Not for women in space. They dreamt of becoming an astronaut, but they were not heard until one day Valentina Tereshkova became the first woman in space. And that was the starting of an era of dreams. The first Indian woman to go to space was Kalpana Chawla on behalf of NASA, which was a milestone in Indian history. Ms. Kalpana's venture fueled up Sunita Williams and Sirisha Bantla, who followed the same path to achieve their dreams. Representing different countries, a total of 65 women astronauts grabbed their chance to explore space. Helen Sharma was the first British citizen to fly in space. Mae Jemison was the first African American woman in space. The women who worked behind the scenes can never be forgotten. A large number of women have made significant contributions to the development of space missions in the late 1950s and 1960s. They were instrumental in taking humanity to the moon. Without them, it would have never been possible. In the late 1950s, Katherine Johnson was an American mathematician whose calculation of orbital mechanics as a NASA scientist was critical in the success of the first and subsequent US crewed space flights. Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood. Now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. The next era of space revolution is set on fire with NASA's Artemis mission, which will land the first woman on the moon.
A lot of theories on the fate of our future are being proposed every single day. Here, we are to explain the same. Currently, we are in our galaxy Milky Way, and its closest galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, is positioned 2.5 million light years away. These two are on a collision course, and one day they will collide with each other. The collision of galaxies is a common phenomenon in space. What happens after this? Their stars get scattered. Many stars and planets will not even survive this process. But the most shocking thing is that scientists believe that our Earth's position is so favorable that even after collision, Earth won't be destroyed. According to quantum field theory, our universe will disappear someday and will never return. This theory's name is vacuum decay. It says that vacuum is of two types, the false vacuum and the true vacuum. If our universe is a true vacuum, then it is stable. But if it is a false vacuum, then due to any quantum fluctuation, all its potential energy can get over and it can disappear. If this happens someday, then it will be so instant that we won't even realize it. Carl Sagan once said, "Exploration is in our nature. We began as wanderers and we are wanderers still." Doors to space are open to all of us, but only a few dare to open it. Alisa Carson, a 20-year-old American student, is one who dared to open the door. She is all set to become the first woman to step on Mars. And yes, exploration is indeed in our nature. Space is our future to explore. So, who's ready?